news.
I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
Nah, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories in the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Stroud is sacked again. Oh, John, boom. Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Defended in the corner.
To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win. The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker! Kenny Walker! Touchdown! Spotty!
Goff's got it. Back, looks, throws, ends up. Yes! Caught! Touchdown, Detroit Lions! They did it! Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end!
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here! A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera! He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Good Wednesday morning to you. It is Hump Day. My goodness, already the 27th day of December 2023. We welcome you here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports and Network. Ben Glaze, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, from Traverse City to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City. So great to be with you, and we encourage you to join the program at any time. Text the keyword Sports Radio, send that to 21,000, Sports Radio to 21000. Our Meyer Supercenter guest line, 866-838-4843. That's 866-838-4843. We're on Twitter at XP Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros, and, of course, good morning to our television audience as well on BCSN, which now I can see that I got my cable box fixed. How awesome is that? That is fantastic. Everybody's happy now. Got TV back. TV being back is a good thing. And, of course, you can find us all individually on Twitter. Ryan Elke is at RyanL_Key. Ben Glaze is at The Ben Glaze. And I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you. How are we on this hump day?
Good morning. Doing well.
Are you after 27 straight losses? Are
No.
you doing well?
Yeah.
Are you fighting through it?
I was
Are
going
you
to say
battling?
better than the Pistons, but yeah, I'm doing well personally, but yeah, what a disaster.
What a disaster. I mean, I get it. It's hard to win games, but, this team, John Morant has now more wins in the NBA than the Detroit Pistons. And John Morant, remember, served a 25-game suspension. He's been back for a week. Wow. I really, it feels so mental with this group that they came out and built that huge lead in the first quarter. I'm like, all right, this is it. This is it. The crowd's into it. They had a good crowd there. Hate watching them tonight. They have but the fans are into it. They're loud. They're boisterous, and it was not to be. So plenty more to go on that ball game throughout the course of today's show. We'll talk to the coach, Kyle Barlow. He will join us. Big Worm, Chris Wormley. He'll stop by to talk a little Michigan, Alabama, plus just some random bowl questions for him, because I feel like it'd be really, really difficult to be able to make it through this month just about where nobody plays, right? Where you're just hanging around, just waiting for somebody, anybody, to be, just to play a football game. The last game for Michigan was the Big Ten Championship. It's almost a month. From December 3rd to January 1st, like that's a long time without any live game action. So the team went down went to the Rose Bowl. I saw that they were traveling in style. That had to be expensive based upon the seating arrangements that I saw. It was like I don't know, what they fly an Emirates plane, like what's going on here, like luxurious first class accommodations for everybody. I don't know, but regardless, they're on their way. And of course, now you have to, you gotta get the job done. I mean, there is a lot going on for this Michigan Wolverines team here, and a lot at stake for Jim Harbaugh in the maize and blue. So we'll talk. We'll talk to Chris Wormley about that. The coach, Kyle Barlow, he will join us today. We'll talk about the Pistons' run to 27, a record run to 27 consecutive losses. With him a little bit, as well as I don't know, man. I really don't know what the right answer is for this team. To start his NBA career, Cade Cunningham is 0-10 when scoring 30 or more. 10 consecutive. They led by as many as 14 points last night. 11 of their 27 games in the final 5 minutes have been within 5 points. And there isn't anything like this now. Now, if they lose the next one, they're going to tie that 2015 76ers team that had the split season losing streak. So it was the end of 14-15 in the beginning of 15-16. So within the calendar year, if you will, of 2015. But just an absolute disaster. If you are a Pistons fan or a player on that team, like that's just awful. All right, what else is going on in the world of sports? We'll try to get you all caught up with all the happenings. We'll do so right now in the headlines.
Big news.
I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
No, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories in the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
Huge news from the Lions-Vikings game. T.J. Hockenson, the tight end, is out for the rest of the season with a torn ACL and MCL ligaments in his right knee. Hockenson will be placed on IR, surgery scheduled soon, and that'll be at the injury occurred in the Vikings' second offensive play of the third quarter after leaping up to make a 24-yard pass. Hockenson took a hit to the knee from Kirby Joseph, immediately jogged to the sideline, was soon ruled out, and I saw that our friend Ben Lieber of the Vikings radio network was talking about how this is what you get when you're talking about player safety and you have to go low. That's what happens, and it's an unfortunate situation there for T.J. Hockenson. The Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence has a sprained AC joint. That's not good. His status for Sunday against the Panthers is up in the air. Head coach Doug Peterson said he is improving, but he's not sure if Lawrence will be able to practice today, which would mean backup C.J. Beathard will get the first team reps again. How about that? My goodness, the Jaguars. What happened? What happened to Jacksonville? And with Carolina coming to town, I mean, you feel like there's a good opportunity here for the Carolina Panthers. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 8-7, by the way, people. 8-7. Did you see the way they started this season? I mean, I get it. It's the NFL, but holy smokes. You want to talk about coming out to a great start. They were, 6-2 through the first 8 weeks? And they've been 2-5 since. Losers of 4 consecutive on the way out here with the playoffs on the line. Not good. Not good at all. The Jets' Aaron Rodgers, he's talking again. He said that ripping his critics, saying it's not his idea to be activated. So he was, saying the conspiracy theorists are portraying him as selfish for taking up a roster spot, though he's not playing. I don't know what the active part about it is either. Like, why would you get activated? Pistons set the NBA record with their 27th consecutive loss last night. More on that coming up. The Bulls, Nikola Vucevic, will be out with an undetermined period for a groin injury. That's not good. The MRI says that he suffered this after Saturday's loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers. He fell to the ground after being dunked on by Max Strus, stayed in the game, and is now going to be out an unspecified amount of time. And John Morant named the player of the week as the Grizzlies won their 4th consecutive game. They won 4 games, and the Pistons can't seem to figure it out. We'll step aside. We'll be back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for Urban U. They are Michigan's favorite med spa locations throughout West Michigan and also on the east side of the state in Northville. And this is for any guy listening right now or lady. If you want the perfect holiday gift for somebody you care about, you need to think about the holiday specials happening at theurbanu.com. That's theurbanu.com. And for the holidays, Urban U is offering holiday tiers. Until December 30th through the end of the year, purchasing a holiday tier is the perfect way to treat yourself or that person in your life that you care about or your family. And you get your holiday gift shopping done quick at theurbanu.com. And what are holiday tiers? Holiday tiers are the best way to get rewarded big time for investing in your health, wellness, and beauty services. Simple and easy. If you want to take care of everything for the holidays, go to theurbanu.com.
Ring in the new year and get game day deals with One Stop at Meijer. Shop extra large avocados for 99 cents each. Select Coca-Cola, Pepsi, 7-Up, or Dr. Pepper products. Buy 2, get 1 free. Plus deposit where applicable. And select Lay's party-sized chips or poppables, 2 for $6. Plus, pay the same low Meijer prices no matter how you shop, in-store or online. Cheer on your favorite team and celebrate the new year when you shop quality and One Stop at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at FreddieThePizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit FreddieThePizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, Together, we can make a difference.
Huge here. AB's doing a heck of a job, and I'm ready to drop some huge opinions about what he's talking about later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
From Traverse City to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City, you're listening to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome into X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Anthony's just having some internet problems. Talking about, hey, my cable box is back. I can see us. And then, well, his cable box is back, but his internet went out in the break. So, so I'll be in for this segment as we try to get Anthony all situated. And Ben and Anthony work on that together, and we can talk about the Detroit Pistons. 27 straight losses. And it's a new league record for a single game losing or single season losing streak. And the one thing that's confused me about this losing streak ever since it got to 20, it felt like they were setting some weird record of longest losing streak. Like, hey, this is the longest losing streak for the division, for the conference, for the NBA during the first half of the season, for the NBA the second half of part of a year, because now it's the longest single season losing streak. And next up would be, I believe, 28 games, and that would be the longest just losing streak in general across any season for an NBA team. And a poll question will go up here momentarily. But, like, where does this Pistons team rank amongst, like, the worst Detroit teams in sports history? Like, Detroit sports history. Because we have the 2003 Tigers that lost, 115 games or something around there. We have the 0-16 Lions. We have this Detroit Pistons team. And then we have the 76 Red Wings that went 16-55-9. A whopping 41 points. So that poll question will go up, and then you guys can vote on that all today. But that is just, and I was looking on Twitter, I believe on some betting websites for the over-under the rest of the year for total wins. You could go through bet on teams. The Detroit Pistons have been removed from some betting websites because overwhelmingly the under was the bet was just getting hammered, that the books had to take the Pistons off. And it's just unfathomable that this just keeps happening. And one thing that I know was making the Twitter rounds last night was Mr. Alec Burks and his big smiles after the game. You know, I believe he played for the Nets for a little bit. And
I'm sorry about that, Ryan.
That's, hey, nothing to apologize.
Well, I don't know what happened. It's just like one thing, like one TV went down, then the laptop got the spinning wheel, and I'm like, wait a minute here. And then the Skype went down. I'm like, what in the world is going on? I just had the cable people here yesterday swapping out the boxes. What's going on here?
What's in the box, Anthony?
Tough scene. One of the great all-time scenes in film, though, that's for sure. So I just interjected. I didn't even know where you were at, where we were picking up.
So I was about to dive into Alec Burks and his Mr. Smiles last night.
Very smiley.
Very smiley. The minus 25 last night. And the one common thing of watching these Pistons games is that every time Burks gets the ball, I feel like I can hear him just saying, "It's Burks time." Because there's a shot he doesn't love for himself.
Yeah. I didn't understand what all that was after the game. Like, how could you even go shake anybody's hands after that? It's not like it's a normal mandatory thing that guys meet up at mid-court like it's the playoffs or something to shake hands on the way out. Like, what is all of this? I can't stand it.
No, and it's like if you're the Pistons, if you're Troy Weaver, and it's like, hey, we know we need some sort of scapegoat for the time being outside of myself, I'd just cut Burks. Like, we're buying you out. Like, and honestly, would you really miss him? He's a guy that puts up how many shots a game for little output. It's like, yeah, the guy can create his own shot, but we have now that Bogey's back. Like, we finally saw the starting lineup of Cade, Ivy, Duran, Bogey, and Stewart. And you look at their numbers, I believe only one of the starters yesterday was minus in the plus-minus. And it was like a -4.
I thought that Monty went to the bench way too early. I mean, he put in that bench crew, when the guys had 6-7 minutes of run underneath their legs. Like, why are we doing that? You're telling me your guys can't play the entirety of the first quarter? It felt like they were in such a flow. It felt like they were in such a rhythm. And you look at it now, and it's like how, top to bottom, just awful. But I don't know what this obsession is with this team and trying to have a 9, 10, 15-man rotation. Like, that part really bothers me. Like, I don't know why, they continuously want to trot out two lines. And Marvin Bagley doesn't play at all, but James Wiseman plays 12 minutes. I don't understand that. I don't understand Alec Burks' 26 minutes or Asar Thompson only playing 9 minutes in the ballgame. How did Asar Thompson only play 9 minutes? How does that happen? And the only minus in the starters, as you brought up, Ryan, was Bogey at -3. Everybody else was fine. They brought in that bench crew with 4 minutes to play in the first quarter, and whoop, there goes the lead.
Right, because honestly, I'd rather have Killian Hayes off the bench with 4 shots than Alec Burks with 11.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I was just happy to see our boy Jaden Ivey get to play next to Cade Cunningham, and then on the broadcast, these two the last couple of games. Look at this combination. It's like, yeah, we've been waiting the entirety of Cade's injury for Jaden Ivey to be playing next to Cade Cunningham. Like, that's what we have been waiting for as Pistons fans. This idea or this juggling and shuffling of Killian Hayes and God knows who else in there, and moving Ivy to the bench is like when you have more information than the teacher does about a particular topic and they try to prove a point and the point just doesn't get proven and they're wrong the entire time. It's like, yeah, you're missing what we're trying to say here. Like, you're not understanding what we're trying to say. No one's trying to be, contrarian or disrespectful or anything of the nature. You just don't understand what we are trying to tell you collectively here. That's what this is like. It's like, Monty, Jaden Ivey's your starting 2-guard. Don't overthink it. The guy started 8,000 games last season under Dwayne Casey. You'll be fine to start. Well, nothing's guaranteed. Maybe it should have been guaranteed from the start. And I think Jaden's done a great job taking that on the chin. But that's just, you look at that and it's like, dude, it's right in front of you. What is this obsession? We're going to talk more about this coming up next year on X's and Bros. Hopefully during the commercial break, the power doesn't blow out here. But we'll be right back on the Michigan Sports Network.
School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Welcome to the Drew World Order. Drew Hill, Friday, January 26th at Soaring Eagle Casino. There's a party on this hill. Same show, the soulful bad boy of R&B, Genuine. Ride the pony for a two-stepping good time. Tickets start at $45 and are on sale now at the box office or online at etix.com. Genuine. Drew Hill, Friday, January 26th at Soaring Eagle Casino.
Van Andel Institute Purple Community is a grassroots fundraising network powered by the dedicated volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve human health now and in the future. When you raise funds through the Van Andel Institute Purple Community, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the Institute's research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's, as well as VAI's science education programs. Learn how you can get involved at purplecommunity.org.
This is X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports and Network. Hey, folks, a reminder, Tullamore Golf Resort and Matt Golden and his wonderful team, they're ready to welcome you to one of the best golfing experiences in 2024 in the great state of Michigan. Tullamore not only features top-line golf, but also top-line accommodations in the perfect space for your wedding, event, reception, or group outing. Conveniently located an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant. It's smack dab in the middle of the state, which means it's easy to get to no matter what direction you are coming from. Visit TullymoreGolf.com, TullymoreGolf.com, or call 1-800-972-4837. That's 1-800-972-4837. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. Great to have you riding along with us here on this Wednesday morning, a morning in which we all sit together in sadness and in I don't even know what. By the way, poll results came in. I just had the question. What did you watch on Christmas? NFL or the NBA, right? Really, really simple. If you only have one TV in the household that you're in because you're supposed to be spending time with family and it's just kind of background noise, if you're locked in to whatever game, or if there's just, one that you're paying attention to more than the other, what would it have been? 502 votes, 94% said the NFL. And that, the NBA on Christmas Day, I mean, that's a prized possession. So if you are the NBA, and I'll go back through to take a gander and see what the ratings ended up being for the top games there to attach to that tweet. But, I mean, my goodness, 94-6. I mean, that's just it's the NFL, man. It's the NFL. And that's a real tough look. If that's just what my Twitter is saying, I can't wait to see what the actual rating said. Now, back to last night. How the Pistons made NBA infamy with their record losing streak, courtesy of ESPN.
Nobody decided to guard Evan Mobley. And the Pistons' losing streak goes on. LeBron to the basket. Oh, no. Got a rip-down jam. The Pistons' losing streak has now reached 15.
But 15 straight losses. This is an atrocity.
Brunson, DiVincenzo, hard. Brunson from three, and the foul. 16th consecutive loss for Detroit.
You can say it, deflating. I mean, it is what it is.
The Pistons dropped their 20th straight.
The Detroit Pistons are a horror show.
Embiid from downtown, 35-12 for the big fella.
Bring a kid to work day.
Oh man, he's hamming it up.
Milwaukee wins the ball game 146-114.
The Pistons will suffer their 24th consecutive defeat.
117-106, just over a minute left. And the Pistons' losing streak has reached 25.
Yeah, we're not 2-26 bad.
Well, they have tied the record for consecutive losses in a season.
Everybody knows what's going on, so obviously you don't want to be that team.
I mean, look, it's human nature. You know what I'm saying? Everybody feels down when you lose, and you've lost this many in a row.
We have a good core. We have a good foundation. So we have to not panic.
Nobody could have ever predicted this, that the Pistons now find themselves.
The losing streak reaches 27 consecutive games. That is the longest streak in a single season in NBA history.
Oh, man. I will say this. One, it was great to have Johnny Kane on the play-by-play last night, and Shep back at the studio desk. So that was fun. That was a good thing, right? I was excited about that. I saw it, I flipped it on. I was like, oh, Shep! Nothing against, Mickey York, obviously, but I was just excited to see my old buddy, old pal, Matt Shepard there. So that was cool. And, of course, with Johnny Kane on the call, he and Gregory Kelser. Gregory, I always really appreciate Johnny and, where, what he means to me as an individual, but then also the work that he does. I love that. Ryan just put this out on the poll, so check it out at XB Mornings on Twitter. Which team is the worst team in Detroit sports history? Is it this Pistons team at 2-28? Is it the 0-16 Detroit Lions, the 85-86 Red Wings, who were 17-57-6, or the 2003 Detroit Tigers at 43-119? So I think it'll be pretty tough to get this Pistons team over an 0-16 Lions just because it's football. But I think that this team really, what's sad is that I believe that the Pistons have talent. I really do. I believe that this team has talent. And for me personally, watching them last night, you could see they build that lead, how the fans were just involved and engaged in the game early. And then you could see that second quarter when the Nets, woke up a little bit, how this team kind of folded, right? They weren't necessarily, they weren't built and ready for all of that. The sloppy turnovers late in the game, just throwing the ball out of bounds. The whole thing was just disastrous. And from my perspective, when I watch this team, obviously as a Pistons fan, but I know some of you will laugh when I say this, but when you take the job, the fan cap does come off a little bit, and you are supposed to approach this as a journalist. Despite even though we're not journalists, we are media. There's a difference there, but there is a sort of non-bias that you have to have. When you have, I feel like this team is probably not only poorly coached, but poorly managed. And, I heard Greg Kelser saying in the first half, this one's on Cade Cunningham. He's got to get to his spot and do his thing. Like, I understand that. I mean, Cade had a great game, especially in the second half. Finished 15 of 21 for 41 points. Bogey was 9 of 19, 3 of 9 from 3 with 23 points. Did have 4 turnovers. I mean, Cade's turnover number was at 3. Ivy had 1. Duran had 1. Stu had none. Bogey had 4. Turned it over on the very first possession of the game. Got ripped a couple of times with the basketball in his hands. I don't know why this team is the way that they are, and why Asar Thompson didn't. I don't know, man. I think that the rotation's overthought a little bit. Like, Asar Thompson in 9 minutes had 2 points, a rebound, assist, a steal, and a block. Like, I know that they're like, well, the spacing. Okay, like, all right, well, put him in there and space the floor out with him. And if he has an opportunity to get a three up, great, shoot the 3. If they don't respect you, shoot it. And then if they do come out and close out hard, pump fake, get to the basket, create some offense, right? And so that's where I'd like to see Bogey as that stretch 4, if you will, because Asar defensively is really good, and that way you can bring in Beef Stew off the bench. I don't know how many times I need to say it. Maybe I need to say it more. Maybe I need to say it less. I didn't understand the first quarter substitution where everybody came in, and look, here comes a Brooklyn team that finally wakes up. They get 24 from Johnson, 21 from Bridges, who played 40 minutes. Like, Mikal Bridges played 40 minutes. Nobody on the Pistons team played 40. The Nets are a 500 basketball team. Like, why are they playing guys 40 minutes, but we're not? What is going on with that? And the other thing is, as you go through, NBA box scores, right? If you go through, you click on them and you just cycle through. Very rarely do you ever see a team take on more than 9 guys in their rotation. The Pistons are pretty faithful with their 10, sometimes 11, that they'll get into the basketball game. And for me personally, it's just unnecessary. You don't need to. Brooklyn's a good example of that. Brooklyn, they played a total of 9 guys. Like, that's what they did. They got a couple of forwards, a center, and a guard that come in off the bench. Like, that's that. And we don't have, like, this. Yeah, this is the lineup. This should have been the starting lineup. You have to remember Bogey was out some games at the beginning of the year due to injury. Okay, fine. Like, I understand that. But this 2-28 squad here, 2-28, my God, with 27 consecutive losses, I don't really even know where to put them. Like, I don't know what to do with them. I really don't, especially when Cade gives you 41 points. A lot of this load is trusted on me, on the court and in the locker room. Cunningham said, every day I tried to lead the squad, and I haven't been successful at that. 2-28, It's only right that I speak for it and be the face of it. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, he had 37 points in the second half alone. You have to be real about where we are, said Monty Williams. Nobody wants something like this attached to them. And the bottom line is it's my job. Coaches are graded on their records. I don't really know, like, what else. I probably would have done some rearranging of the locker room after that. Yeah, I don't think that he's the guy. I really don't. Like, Tom Gores talking about not giving up the ship, and, we got some good things. We do have some good things. But what you can do is you can make a change right now. Make the change right now. End it. Be done with it. He's got free access to the private jet 24/7 whenever he wants to go see his wife. Send him back to Arizona. Allow him to live out his days. And don't bother the man. And be done with it. You could just do that. You could do that, and we can all be okay with it. And as far as trying to find the next head coach, I wouldn't let Troy Weaver have any say in that. I would let that one go, and I would try to hire a head coach. I would get rid of Arn Tellem, get rid of his son. I'd get rid of Weaver's kid. I think that's in the front office as well. Anybody that's a relative to anybody, you're out. You only got this job because you're related to somebody, and that's nepotism is not a great way to hire. It's just not. So I'd start axing people this week, calling them in one by one. Your key card doesn't work anymore. Thank you for your service. Adios. That's that. Start to set the tone first within the front office, and then work my way down to the players. That's where I would get to Alec Burks, who smiles. I would show him tape of that, and then he would be gone. He would be gone immediately. I don't know what you could get for him. Probably not very much, but whatever it is, try to trade him. If not, just cut him and be done with it. Because there's no sense in trying to do anything of that nature. Like, there is no reason to keep him. Just awful. I don't have tickets to anything. If I have tickets to something, I give them away on the show. That's the other thing. Somebody asked me about playoff tickets the other day. I almost slapped him through the phone. I didn't even respond. Like, why are you asking me that? Why? Why are you asking me if I have playoff tickets? And if I did, would I give them to you? Like, no, I would not. So take a hike. I don't have any tickets for anything. The Pistons, especially not the Pistons. Like, you can get Pistons tickets dirt cheap right now. Just go to StubHub. What are you contacting me for? Go to StubHub. StubHub. Just do that and be done with it. Now the question is, now that they have 27, the single season mark, they're definitely not winning on the road at Boston. That's a wrap. So they're going to be 28 losses and set the all-time mark because of that carryover season from the 76ers. They'll come back home, probably lose to Toronto. Road trip, Houston, Utah, Golden State, Denver. They'll go 0-4 on that road trip, come back home. Sacramento, San Antonio, and Houston. So maybe the Spurs, Wemby's World on January 10th. Maybe they'll get their first dub, and maybe they'll set a record that'll never be broken. Maybe like, and you saw how hard they tried last night. That's the other thing. Like, those guys were out there, like, they knew what was on the line. They knew what was on the line. They're all attached to it now forever. It's like, Tom Gores talking about, we got good draft position, and this, like, the lottery, you're probably not going to get the first pick. You probably don't deserve to have the first pick, and this is what happens. This is years in the making. This is like when you pass on Donovan Mitchell for a guy like Luke Kennard, even though Donovan Mitchell didn't miss a single shot in his entire pre-draft workout. This is what happens when you draft Killian Hayes over Tyrese Halliburton. Like, this is years in the making. Like, they shouldn't be in this spot because this roster shouldn't even be. And I like Jalen Duren a lot, and I would keep him wherever. But this team should be a lot different. Because if you draft Tyrese Halliburton, that changes who you go with number one the following year, and so on and so forth. If you draft Donovan Mitchell, you know what I mean? But you made crap choices. You had a front office that failed when it comes to talent identification, which is their primary job and responsibility. Identify the talent and then have somebody work the numbers as to how we acquire such player. They haven't traded for anybody worth a damn outside of Blake Griffin in how long? And Bojan Bogdanovic is a nice player. I think you got to deal him by the deadline. I think you have to, just to try to get something for him. Because what's the point now? Like, right now, this doesn't work. So Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo were talking about this. Like, if you were the San Antonio Spurs, would you try to go get Cade Cunningham? Like, I don't need a bunch of picks that are all like, protected. And this is the other thing. People are like, oh, what about the draft? And you don't have anything in the war chest. We haven't drafted very well. Like, Jaden Ivey, cool. Jalen Duren, cool. Marcus Sasser, I had showed some promise early in the season, but, because we can't get a stable bench rotation at all, that'll shoot his confidence and blow that up. But at least I've seen him make a shot, so that's nice. But, Cade, Killian, Beef Stew, I think Duren's the one piece I want to keep. And everything else, whatever you can get for him, go right ahead. Because I've got no attachment to anybody else. Like, it just is what it is. Like, they're done here, man. They are done. And it's sad because I was so excited going into the season too. I was like, this is gonna be it right here. Like, this is gonna be it. We're gonna have the Red Wings are gonna play well. The Lions are gonna make the playoffs. The Pistons are gonna make it. Like, it's gonna be awesome. That's gonna lead right into baseball season with the Tigers, and we are gonna have ourselves a whale of a sports season. You're gonna have Michigan in the college football playoff. Like, life is good, right? And then the Red Wings start floundering. The Pistons lose 27 consecutive games, and you're like, how is that even possible? Like, eventually you got to, slip up and win a game. But now they're starting to get other teams' best shots because nobody wants to be the team that they beat. No one's going to come out here and lay down. You don't want to be the team that lost to the team that couldn't win a game for 2 months. Like, are you kidding me? Boston and Toronto are your next two before you go 2 consecutive months without a win. You're not winning in the Garden. So you come home on Saturday, December 30th against Toronto at 6 o'clock, and maybe that's your best effort? That is just brutal. Speaking of the NBA, folks, in the NBA, the game can change in an instant. But no matter how the action unfolds, DraftKings Sportsbook has your back. This week, new customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball. Win or lose, you get an instant dub, and best of all, it's safe, secure, and reliable. With 24/7 support, you can deposit, withdraw your cash whenever, wherever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code HUGE. Promo code HUGE. New customers get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Only using the promo code HUGE. The crown is yours. Now, if you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline, 800-270-7117. 21 plus, physically present, Michigan. Eligibility and deposit restrictions do apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Oh, that's bad. That's very, very bad. You could potentially see a Piston, will the Pistons win double-digit games this season? Are the Lions going to finish with more victories than the Pistons this year? Think about that, because that's legitimately on the table at this point. We'll step aside. We'll be back with more X's and Bros. Hour number 2 is next here all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio. This is the Michigan Sports Network.
Bill Simonson here for my good friend Josh Garvey. Now, he is a managing shareholder at Br0's, soon to be Doran Mayhew at the end of the year. And with the merger, there is growth and a chance for you to fill an executive or other high-level finance-related roles, either at Br0 here in downtown Grand Rapids or over at the Doran Mayhew World Headquarters in Troy, or at any of their offices across the country and around the world. They have a national specialized talent pool with ideal candidates for long-term placement, ongoing support for post-placement success. So if you're looking for that next chapter in your professional career, talk to Josh Garvey and the team at Br0. Easiest way, you can call Br0, ask for Josh Garvey, or go to their website, BEENEGARTR.com, or look for Br0, soon to be Doran Mayhew, on Facebook and on Twitter.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle. It's the Snowfall Lucky Draw every Saturday in December. Select the lucky ornament from the holiday tree for the chance to take home your share of over $400,000 in prizes. It's the Snowfall Lucky Draw every Saturday in December, only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Roast Umber is a farm direct coffee sourced from Central American farmers and roasted in Grand Rapids. And also the Nitro Cold Brew Coffee is a convenient and healthy option for energy with no sugar additives. Look for it at your local retailer or at roastumber.com.
Merck Perks from Mercantile Bank is here. Merck Perks checking has all you need to plan your busy lifestyle. Travel services for hotels, airfare, and cruises, cash back rewards, and even savings on prescriptions, eyewear, and dental work. Merck Perks also includes all the traditional benefits you love, like online and mobile banking, and fee-free access to almost 40,000 MoneyPass ATMs. So when you're ready for perks, Merck is here. Learn more at mymerckperks.com, member FDIC.
Huge here. AB's doing a heck of a job, and I'm ready to drop some huge opinions about what he's talking about later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
Don't just ride the index, seek to outperform it with Fidelity Active ETFs. Learn more at fidelity.com.
Good morning, everyone.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
How are you?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's a good morning. Wake up to a brand new day.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Good Wednesday morning to you. It is the 27th day of December, a day in which we take a look at 27 consecutive losses for the Detroit Pistons. Coincidence? I think not. Man, tell you what, 14-point lead last night, their largest lead since November 10th against Philly 20 games ago. Look at them now, just squandering that. Just brutal. Welcome back here to the program. Text the keyword sports radio. Send that to 21,000. Sports radio to 21000. Meyer Supercenter guest line 866-838-4843. That's 866-838-4843. 866-838-HUGE. That is the phone number. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros. And, of course, good morning to our television audience as well on BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network. Add a .com to that to find our website. xbmornings@gmail.com. is our fan feedback email inbox, and you can find us all individually on Twitter. Ben Glaze is at the Ben Glaze. Ryan Elke is at RyanL_Key, and I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. What's going on in the world of sports? We'll try to get you all caught up with all the happenings. We'll do so right now in the headlines.
Big news.
I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
No, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories of the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
27 consecutive losses for the Detroit Pistons as they fell by 6 points to the Brooklyn Nets, 118-112. Carried a 31-25 lead at the end of the first quarter and then got their doors blown off in the second, 36-23, and it was all downhill from there. They could never rally or dig themselves out of that hole. Cade Cunningham with a 41-point performance on 15 of 21 shooting. He was sensational, but outside of that, Pistons, I mean, just brutal. Absolutely brutal. TJ Hawkinson tore both his ACL and his MCL ligaments in his right knee during the loss to the Detroit Lions 30-24 on Sunday. The hit came from Kirby Joseph. It was Hawkinson jogging off the field in pain, and then that was it. That was all. That's all she wrote. Unfortunate for TJ Hawkinson. Very strange, weird timing that it is it's Hawkinson against the Lions and how that happened. That's a very strange series of life events there. Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence has a sprained AC joint. His status to be determined for Sunday's game against the Carolina Panthers. C.J. Beathard taking first-team reps again right now. And that's a big-time game if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, because obviously Carolina's a 2-win football team, so things aren't going well there. But there's a 3-way tie atop the AFC South between Jacksonville, Indianapolis, and Houston, who are all 8-7. That, my friends, is a problem. Now, the Jaguars are number one in the division because they are 4-1 against their conference foes. But this is a big-time matchup here for a very, you can get a win here and improve to 9-7 and, help solidify your playoff status a little bit. Instead, no Trevor Lawrence, that could spell problems. The Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers, ripping the critics, said it wasn't his idea to be activated. He said the Jets organization wanted him on the 53-man roster so he could keep practicing with the team despite being ruled out because of his Achilles. Rodgers said he would have been content to finish the season on IR. Nick Bawden, the fullback, later returned to the team on the practice squad after they had to release him because you had to make room for Aaron Rodgers. I assumed I was going to IR. I asked to be put on IR, but then there was a conversation. Do you want to practice? I said not at the expense of somebody getting cut. I know how this works. I didn't feel like I needed to practice to continue my rehab. I could do the on-the-field stuff on the side, but obviously I got overruled. It is what it is. This is an interesting situation. There was no way he was coming back this season. Like, not if he actually had a torn Achilles. You're not going to come back in the same year. I'm sorry. Not at 40-plus years old. That's just not going to happen. I feel bad for Nick Bawden from a career standpoint, but he's doing just fine. Bulls' Nikola Vukovic will be out for an undetermined period with a groin injury, according to head coach Billy Donovan. Now, this happened in Saturday's loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers. He got dunked on by Max Strus, fell down to the ground. He's averaging 17 and 10, hasn't missed a game in the regular season since the finale of the 21-22 season. A real Iron Man. Grizzlies point guard Ja Morant was named the Western Conference Player of the Week yesterday after leading a struggling Memphis squad to its first 3-game winning streak this season. 4 wins in total for Ja Morant since he has been back. That's more than the Pistons have all year long. The Yankees have traded one of their prized prospects, Estevan Florial, to the Guardians for Cody Morris. So that's kind of an interesting deal that a top prospect would go to Cleveland for a right-hander. Interesting for the outfield, but okay, I guess. And Shohei Ohtani gave a Porsche to Joe Kelly's wife for the number 17. So that's what it's going to cost Shohei in order to pick up that number from relief pitcher Joe Kelly. So he's in the holiday spirit. Good for them, I suppose. Ohtani delivered a new silver Porsche to Ashley Kelly. Interesting. It's yours from Shohei. He wanted to gift you a Porsche. Now, Kelly publicly lobbied for Ohtani to sign with the Dodgers with their hashtag #OTake17 social media campaign. She allegedly reached out to Shohei, showing him all the 17 garb in the family's closets that could be converted for use by him and his family. She even offered to rename the couple's baby Kai to Shokai. This is strange. That's kind of a weird obsession to have there. If that's my wife, like, calm down a little bit. Just a little. Just calm down a little bit. I don't think we need all of that necessarily to be successful here. I'm just saying. It looks weird if your wife is doing all that. I don't mind him giving her a Porsche for the jersey number. That's fine. We see people do it all the time. It costs them $1 million or $500,000. Players buy different numbers off of other players, but it's just a very, very strange situation to have your wife out and about and out in public like that, campaigning for another guy to join the team. That's just my opinion on it. Who knows? Speaking of wives, maybe we'll get to see Kelly Stafford soon. Wouldn't that be great? Yeah, Kelly Stafford, a little reunion here. Bring her back to Ford Field. I know that a lot of Lions fans would be very, very excited about that. All right, we are going to step aside. When we return, will the Pistons ever win again? Or will they be a 2-win club for the rest of the year? There's a reason you can bet on that on the internet right now, is because that is a legitimate prospect at this point. I think I see a game in the next couple of weeks that might be winnable, but outside of that, it's looking pretty grim. Plus, we'll get to the coach, Kyle Barlow. Chris Wormley will join us on Michigan, Alabama. And I got a question about Tom Gores as well now. I know we talked a little bit about it yesterday, but it's a question that is honestly worth visiting here, as we can start to see a shift a little bit, if you will, in the anger from the general public. Now, folks, in the NBA, because that's where the Pistons play, in the NBA, you know that the action can change in an instant. The good news is, with DraftKings Sportsbook, they'll be with you the entire time. They've got your back. This week, new customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball. Win or lose, you get an instant dub. And best of all, it's safe, secure, and reliable. With 24/7 support, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever, wherever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code HUGE. Promo code HUGE. New customers get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, only using the promo code HUGE. The crown is yours. Now, if you or somebody knows a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline, 800-270-7117. 21 plus, physically present in Michigan. Eligibility and deposit restrictions do apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Will the Pistons ever win again? Got a lot of tweets coming in here as well. Oh, boy. Billy Bumps is scaring me. Pistons need Chauncey to come coach, is what he says. Billy, how's that working out for Michigan? I don't know if I could take another alumni failure. That would be not good for my overall health and well-being. We'll be back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for Urban U. They are Michigan's favorite med spa locations throughout West Michigan and also on the east side of the state in Northville. And this is for any guy listening right now or lady. If you want the perfect holiday gift for somebody you care about, you need to think about the holiday specials happening at theurbanu.com. That's theurbanu.com. And for the holidays, Urban U is offering holiday tiers. Until December 30th through the end of the year, purchasing a holiday tier is the perfect way to treat yourself or that person in your life that you care about or your family. And you get your holiday gift shopping done quick at theurbanu.com. And what are holiday tiers? Holiday tiers are the best way to get rewarded big time for investing in your health, wellness, and beauty services. Simple and easy. If you want to take care of everything for the holidays, go to theurbanu.com.
Ring in the new year and get game day deals with One Stop at Meijer. Shop extra large avocados for 99 cents each. Select Coca-Cola, Pepsi, 7-Up, or Dr. Pepper products. Buy 2, get 1 free. Plus deposit where applicable. And select Lay's party-sized chips or poppables, 2 for $6. Plus, pay the same low Meijer prices no matter how you shop, in-store or online. Cheer on your favorite team and celebrate the new year when you shop quality and One Stop at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
You're listening to Michigan's statewide morning show, X's and Bros, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Great to have you riding along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio and worldwide on the iHeartRadio app. Absolute pleasure to be with you this morning. Also a pleasure to get out to Tullymore Golf Resort, Canadian Lakes, Michigan. Didn't know I was going to say that now, did you? Matt Golden and his team ready to welcome you with open arms for the 2024 season. Maybe a late stocking stuffer for the golfer in your life. Located conveniently smack dab in the middle of the state in Canadian Lakes. That's an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant. Easy to get to no matter what direction you are coming from. Tullymore not only features top-line golf, but also top-line accommodations and the perfect space for your wedding, event, reception, or group outing. Visit TullymoreGolf.com. TullymoreGolf.com or call 1-800-972-4837. That's 1-800-972-4837. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. Got a text here from Ty on YouTube, said, hope the Pistons don't win until after January 15th. Bets are in. Oh, man. That's the kind of the point we've gotten to, though, right? We've kind of gotten to the point where fans are, sometimes you watch something just to see it go badly. Or you can't take your eyes off of something, when it happens a lot with traffic accidents where everybody starts to, see like, oh, what's going on here? Because it looks like it's something bad. That's why they say in the news, if it bleeds, it leads. Put the bad news on first on the news because that's what gets people's attention. Positive things and, positivity doesn't really sell. Negativity will sell because it creates emotion. You get people emotional, and now all of a sudden they're invested. Now they're angry. And anger sells. So, you look at it from this perspective here, and that's why last night LCA had a little buzz to it early on. Now the fans kind of peeled out of there at about, late in the fourth quarter. The section started to look a little empty, and I couldn't help but wonder to myself while watching the game last night what that place will be like if ever there is a playoff game to be played there. I don't know. And if this is the sacrifice that we had to make as a fan base to make sure that the Lions would be able to get to their divisional crown and be able to get to the NFL playoffs, then so be it. I think that we would all sacrifice the Pistons for the Lions. And that's what we've done. That's what we've done. But there are people that are tuning in. And the other part about this is the Pistons have lost so many games now in a row. What's really going to aggravate me is like I played that montage earlier, and there's those clips of like Stephen A. Smith. The problem with the league overall is that the league has generated a majority of their buzz based on non-basketball related stuff. And what I mean by that is they have done a lot in the draft, although there isn't a focal point on college basketball. They have done a lot for player empowerment and player movement. Right, free agency, rumors. It's become more soap opera, more style than it has substance. And that's what bothers me is because it's kind of what the NBA asked for. They got it. And unfortunately, we lose out on really good stories like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. SGA last night had 30 points in 3 quarters. You'll never hear about that because Oklahoma City played the Minnesota Timberwolves. The only place you're going to see something like that is if you tune into like CBS Sports HQ, because that's like the original Sports Center where they actually discuss like every single game that took place. The Oklahoma City Thunder have won 14 games in their last 19. 14 out of 19. They're 19-9 on the season. You don't see them at all on the 4-letter network. You never do, because they have focused so much on Wendy and Woj, right, that in the rumor mill, and of course LeBron watch 24/7. We have to know when every time LeBron takes a dump, we need to know. Like, okay, like, yeah, great, thank you for the nonstop coverage of the Los Angeles Lakers. Thank you for that. But there are so many other teams and other stories and other things to be told that it feels like it's such a miss by those that cover the league. And what's going to happen is you're going to see all the national pundits, guys like Stephen A., who don't watch the Detroit Pistons. They're now going to pile on because it's an easy target. It's an easy target. The Detroit Pistons losing an NBA record 27 consecutive games are an easy target for anyone involved. Anyone involved in covering sports or the NBA. That's what's bothersome. And so when I take a look at this team now, like my question is, will they ever win again? And it sounds ridiculous, but it is a legitimate question at this point. Because you're looking at a team that, during this losing streak, this is what they've surrendered. 124, 110, 125, 120, 120, 120, 114, 119, 126, 108, 142, 107, 136, 126, 133, 118, 110, 116, 123, 131, 129, 124, 146, 130, 119, 126, 118. They can't get a stop. Now, part of this does have to deal with a very interesting stat that I saw in reference to the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors, when they won their title in 2016, was it 2016? Whatever year it was. Their first one. They had the number one offensive rating in the league, right? And it was like something like 116 points and change. That right now would be like middle of the pack in the NBA. It hasn't been that long. It hasn't even been a decade. And we have seen scores skyrocket. Skyrocket. You almost have to get to 30 points a quarter. Okay? 12-minute quarter, 48-minute game. You need 3 points a minute. Break it down like that. You get 3 points a minute. That's 36 points in a 12-minute quarter, right? Obviously, you're not going to probably get 3 points in every minute. So give or take a little range there of maybe 6 to 8 points. But you need to be around 30 a quarter to be competitive in today's NBA game. Because 30 a quarter times 4 quarters gives you 120 points, in case you weren't doing simple math at home. That's the offensive pace that you have to be able to play at. You got to be in that wheelhouse. Or you need to play such extraordinary bad boys 2, going to work Pistons defense that it would be the number one story in the league, the fact that this team goes out there and defends like their hair's on fire every game of the week. And that's a problem here for this team that really, the common trend is everybody gets 120 against the Pistons. Everybody does. And I'm looking at their schedule. Boston is a loss. Tomorrow night, that is going to be a loss. That could be catastrophic. That's going to actually be on NBA TV. Then they'll play Toronto, a 4-game Western road trip with Houston, Utah, Golden State, and Denver. They'll come back home for 3 straight, Sacramento, San Antonio, Houston, and then go on the road to Washington. January 10th and January 15th are your first 2 looks at legitimately winning a basketball game. Because if you lost to the Utah Jazz, they brought out the skeleton crew, I can't imagine you beating them when they're near full strength, especially on the road. I don't see that happening. The Houston Rockets. Maybe there's a little bit of an opportunity there on New Year's Day. That would be kind of a nice gift. New Year's Day, 8 p.m. But, our guys they're going to play Saturday, Monday, which means they'll have New Year's Eve off. They're going to travel Saturday after the game against Toronto, I would imagine, and hit the flight to go to Houston, which means they'll be in Houston on New Year's Eve. I'm sure. You can't win any games, so what's the difference if you're out in the club until 4 in the morning? It doesn't matter. You're giving up 120 anyways. So go ahead and go throw your dollar bills and do whatever it is you want to do on New Year's Eve. Because you don't have to, the game New Year's Day is at 8 p.m. So you might as well enjoy your life as a professional at this point. Like, I can't even knock it. In fact, that might be more entertaining than the games. What if we just go live with the players when they go out at night? Instead of, actually watching the games, we get a live stream broadcast of their nighttime activities. Now, that would be something. You talk about a ratings boom. Wow. That would really be something. And the San Antonio Spurs are going through a similar thing. They had a franchise record losing streak. They're just too young. They're just too young. And young kids can't win at the professional level. We'll step aside. The coach, Kyle Barlow, joins us next. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Welcome to the Drew World Order. Drew Hill, Friday, January 26th at Soaring Eagle Casino. There's a party on this hill. Same show, the soulful bad boy of R&B, Genuine. Ride the pony for a two-stepping good time. Tickets start at $45 and are on sale now at the box office or online at etix.com. Genuine. Drew Hill, Friday, January 26th at Soaring Eagle Casino.
Roast Umber is a farm-direct coffee sourced from Central American farmers and roasted in Grand Rapids. And also the Nitro Cold Brew Coffee is a convenient and healthy option for energy with no sugar additives. Look for it at your local retailer or at roastumber.com. Coming up later today at 3 on The Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
Traverse City to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City. You're listening to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Great to have you ride along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio. That's Ryan Elke and Ben Glaze. I'm Anthony Bellino. Join us on the horn right now. The Concordia alum who did his GA years under John Beilein at the University of Michigan now patrols the sidelines for the Ohio University Bobcats. Our good friend, the coach, Kyle Barlow. Find your favorite assistant coach on Twitter at Kyle Barlow 4. Send your kids recruiting tapes there. Coach Barlow, good morning to you. How was Christmas, my friend?
Christmas was merry, man. It was merry, especially on the gift that keeps on giving on Christmas Eve, the best Christmas gift anybody could ask for in the Detroit area with that Lions dub. What a game, man, and what a celebration. Like, you know, I didn't even think of it as a way of, like, it was just kind of another game, but then it was like, dang, we just won the North. First time in my lifetime, because 30 years ago it wasn't even called the North. It's just amazing time, man, amazing time. That set the tone for the entire Christmas.
It really does. I mean, we've been calling it Merry Clinchmas around Ford Field. You know, see what we did there? Yeah, it's a, man, you take a look at that team and what they've been accomplished, the plan that came to fruition. You know, you look at a guy like Ifeatu Melifonwu stepping up when his number is called, making the most of his opportunity. You can't be anything but happy, for the guy who finally just got healthy and then got an opportunity to play and capitalized on it. And when you think about guys, the saying, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. That's a lot harder in actuality than it is just to say it.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt. And, you see that all across sports, right? And especially in the NFL, it seems like this year, just the injury bug with every team, and the Lions have overcame it. Like, they out without some of their best DBs, especially early on with Gardner. And it's like, man, this is a team that's overcome it. They've overcome questionable reffing, but like we always talk about, good teams always overcome that stuff throughout the year. And, they're a good team, man. And I think you're onto something, man. You said in the last segment, I think if you would have told every Detroit fan, hey, we're going to make the Lions good, but you're going to have to give us something. Like, you're going to have to sacrifice the Pistons. You're just going to have to bring them to the altar. Sacrificial lamb this year. And I think every Detroit fan would have taken that, just because it's been so long since the Lions have been good. So it's like the Little Mermaid. Like, we can't have too many nice things. Ariel, you want some legs? You give me your voice type deal. So we made a deal with made the deal with the devil on this one, didn't we?
We sure as hell didn't make a deal with Troy Weaver. Anytime a deal with Monty Williams, he said take it to the altar to sacrifice the Detroit Pistons in order for the Detroit Lions to become victorious. Little Gregorian chant. It's never too early in the week to play the Gregorian chant, right? It's Christmas time. Come on. Look, if that's what it costs, that's what it costs. It's just sad because I look at the excitement that I had when Monty Williams was hired. I don't think I'm foolish for that. I think he's a good coach. I just, I think it's a legitimate question of does he even want to be coaching right now? I thought that with the core four intact of Cade and Jaden and Asar and Jalen Duren, things were really looking up. I look at what the Orlando Magic are doing, and it's like, well, they have a young team. Like, how come they can have it, but we can't? You look at what Oklahoma City is doing in recent days. And, SGA is on an absolute roll there in OKC. They're not going to talk about it on SportsCenter because LeBron James just dropped another dump. But, regardless of that, it's just like, how come this team can't figure it out? Like, their defensive coordinator, Dan Burke, left after the third game of the season. They were 2-1. They haven't won since. Like, where is this guy? Like, what the hell? How does this happen?
Is this the curse of Dan Burke? Is this the curse of Dan Burke?
It might be. I don't know. I don't know how you can't just mistakenly fall into one. But then on the other side of things, I'm like, that's how hard it is to win games in that league.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Like, in a league full of pros, elite shot makers on every team, not just one, not just two. Elite shot makers on every team. You have to be an elite shot maker to get to that league. Like, you would think you would just get hot one game, right? And that there would be an aberration in the numbers, a regressing towards the mean or progressing towards the mean, I guess, for the Pistons' sake, right? But it just hasn't happened, and I haven't watched closely enough. Shockingly, Anthony, can you believe that I'm just not tuning in to a 27 straight loss team? But yeah, I haven't been tuning in enough. I've just seen some highlights, watched on Synergy. But you read off the scores, the points against earlier in the show. I mean, it's defense, right? It's absolute defense, and to be good in this league, you have to have older guys who understand rotations. I'm watching the Christmas Day games. By the way, Luka, unbelievable.
So good.
He might be the best player in the league. But anyways, I'm watching those games, and you have elite rotations, teams doing different things on ball screens, teams doing different things to great players, and everybody knows where the rotation is going to come on defense. And with the Pistons, obviously you don't see that. You got Asar Thompson, pointing things out, and, you have veterans that he's telling where to go or, like, missing rotations, and he's clearly frustrated by it, and that's a rookie. So, like you said about the Spurs, it just takes time. Like, teams are young. It's hard to win in this league, but you also bring a good point. Orlando's doing it, right? Oklahoma City's not as young as us because they have a legitimate superstar in SGA, who's been a legitimate superstar for a few years now, where it seems like Cade is kind of on that path. Like, you could score 41 on, 15 shots, 21 shots, whatever it was. That's efficient, man. I don't care who you are. You got dudes scoring 40 on 40 shots. To me, that's just not good. That's not an efficient game, not good basketball. He scored 41 on 20 shots or 21 shots, whatever the heck it was. That's efficient, man. And I guess that could be the one bright spot because he's had a few of those games during the streak where he is the best player on the floor, which is a sign of good for the Pistons. But in a very dreary outlook, that's one glimmer of hope, I guess.
Well, thank you very much for that glimmer of hope. There's 30 teams in the NBA. A sixth of the teams have yet to reach double-digit wins as, just about damn near everybody's played 30 games, right? So you have Portland has 8 wins, San Antonio has 4, Charlotte has 7, Washington has 5, and the lowly Pistons have just 2 dubs to their name. When you think about the mental anguish of what this team is going through, and Jaden Ivey talked about it a little bit last night, talking about the sell the team chants are a little much. Like, I don't really think so. Jaden, I know you're newer here, but this Tom Gores experiment has not been going very well and is drastically different from our previous owners. So when it comes to the sell the team stuff, I think you might have to sit that one out because it's a very angry fan base right now that's been watching this ever since, the Davison family blowing up the Palace, how much he cared about those teams, what we do not see from ownership in the Detroit Pistons and Tom Gores. Like, don't do anything via a Zoom. Bring your ass here and sit down in that press conference room and talk to these people because we need to hear something, right? And so I start to look at this team from almost a dejection standpoint because you start to lose a few games, you can start to lose the locker room a little bit, right? At 27 losses, my big thing is I don't want Cade and Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren. One, I don't want them to create bad habits and not understand what it takes to win games because a losing culture, a losing mentality can derail your career. But also, I just feel like there is this overwhelming dark cloud of dejection. Like, they came out last night swinging, and the minute they went down, you knew it was over. Like, they know they cannot come back and win.
Well, and that's a sign of a losing team, and that's what they are right now. Obviously, I'm saying the obvious, but there is. I've been a part of teams. I've seen teams, where it's like that does happen. You come out, it's a new game, you're fresh, but you take that one counter punch or that one swing, and then that the doubt starts creeping in, right? And that's what you have to fight to be a winning team and to be, to team. It's such a coach's cliche, but a team that knows how to win, right? How many times do we hear that? This team just doesn't know how to win yet. And that's going to be what's said about the Pistons. And it's probably right, even though it's a cliche, but it's that mentality of belief. Like, oh, no, here we go again type thing. You know what I mean? Like, so I can see that, and I know what you're saying about this young core. You don't want them to be losers, right? You don't want that. But at some point, you're going to have to learn how to win. But another interesting point, when you rattled off those teams who have yet to win double-digit games, are we finally seeing in the NBA the the consequences of super teams and stars just teaming up. You look at Dallas, you look at Phoenix, you look at the Lakers, you look at all these teams, the free agent destination Miami, where it's like superstars just team up together, LA Clippers. And now the parity in the league has shifted from, if you're not a super team, you can't be a contender, right? And then you get the teams at the bottom who are trying to build it through the draft, and the only way you build through the draft is you tank, like the Spurs did last year, like Washington, like the Pistons have kind of been doing. So is it the parity in the league? Are we seeing that you have your haves and have-nots because of the player empowerment? Do you think that's what we're kind of seeing right now in the NBA?
Well, with the Clippers, they added James Harden. I think that just kind of blows up everything that they had going on. I just don't think it works. Kawhi is not around enough. Like when people are like, is Kawhi Leonard a Hall of Famer? I would give him a DNPE. They'd be like, what's that? Did not play enough. Like, get out there, dude. I don't care. Like, if you can't play, then quit. Like, just retire. I'm tired of hearing, Kawhi's going to be out for his third straight game. And you look at the top of the West, like the Denver Nuggets to me are like the Antichrist, and I love them for that. They drafted a guy at 41, and it worked out, and it blows up kind of what everybody, I guess had for the super teams, because the Lakers sit currently in 9th with the Warriors in 10th, both of them in play-in game position. The Sacramento Kings made a big deal that shifted sort of the paradigm, if you will, of their franchise, with the Indiana Pacers that also elevated their franchise. Like, we're seeing some different clubs around the top. Milwaukee with Giannis is great. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown there in Boston at the top of the East. That's great. Philly with Joel Embiid. All they had to do was get rid of Harden. Like, that's all you have to do. You get rid of James Harden and free your team. That's what it is. Like, stop telling me that guy's a Hall of Famer. Jeez Louise. But I think that I look at the Pistons and I'm like, this is the repercussion of taking Luke Kennard over Donovan Mitchell. This is a direct result of taking a guy like Killian Hayes over Tyrese Halliburton. Like, you have not been able to identify the right talent in the draft to be able to construct your team properly. Like, this has been years in the making.
If you're not a free agent destination, I think that's what you have to do. You got to hit in the draft. And even if you look at, now a lot's being talked about the Pistons and the trust the process Philadelphia 76ers, right? Because, they have the consecutive, albeit 2 seasons, but the NBA record for consecutive losses, which the Pistons are approaching. But if you look at that team, there's only one player that they drafted that's stuck after all that losing, after all that redshirting. Like, I think there's only one player still on the roster, and that's big fella, Joel Embiid, right? So they did all that losing, had all those high draft picks, and they just needed one to hit, and Embiid. And once one hit, boom, now they're an instant contender. You build the team around him, and you're going to go far in this league. And it's like, who is that for the Pistons? It hasn't been anybody yet. I mean, it might be Cade. It might be, but this is his first full season of work. I think we can kind of evaluate that after the season, but all you need to do is hit once. Like, it's baffling when you look back at the drafts for the 76ers. Like, you throw out names, obviously Ben Simmons, right? But what about like the big fella, like Nerlens Noel? Like, he was like the 2nd overall pick or 3rd overall pick.
Did they draft Jahlil Okafor?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe. Maybe. Yeah, I think so. But it's like all these picks, right? All these picks, and it just took one to hit. Jokic, it just takes one to hit. Doncic, it just takes one to hit, right? And it'll turn the whole trajectory of your franchise. And, and that's what the Pistons need right now. And obviously, we just don't know if they have that right now.
Yeah, I mean, they drafted Landry Shamet, Michael Bridges, who else? Markelle Fultz.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid, Jahlil Okafor, Elfrid Payton. Remember that name? Yep. Wow. Michael Carter Williams.
MK Dub.
Jeez. And they actually drafted Nikola Vukovic. I didn't know that.
Wow.
But that
one player.
Might have been one.
All it takes is one.
Yeah. And you raise a really good point there. And I just, you look at all the guys that have, now since come and gone from Philadelphia. Like, I like Jaden Ivey. I like Jalen Duren. Like, I don't want Jalen Duren to leave. I think that there is so much there that is so untapped, and you see glimpses of it. Like, they ran a little, like, adjacent Spain action that opened him up for a lob last night. He didn't get the alley-oop slam, but he did get the catch and the finish at the bucket. And it's like, there's so much you can do because he's so overly athletic. Like, he's such a nice player, but they have no wings that can offer anything on the offensive and defensive side. Like, I hate the idea of 3-and-D. Like, oh, he's a two-way player. You're playing basketball. Everybody's a two-way player. If you can't defend, get off the court.
Absolutely, and obviously that's the biggest thing right now. So, you know, I've been reading stuff. I think we talked about this last week. Are the Pistons buyers though? Like, I don't think we are we? Like, we're not.
Is there anybody even on the market to buy? I feel like we're going to a produce stand, like like in Morocco, where everything's just been sitting out for like 2 weeks and there's just flies everywhere. Not Monaco, Morocco, drastically different countries, folks. And like you know, that's where I feel like we're at. And it's like, do you want this leg of lamb that's been here since like August 3rd? Like, no, I don't know if I do want that, to be honest with you. I'd rather starve.
Right. Well, I guess there's always next year, right? And
oh, God, don't start that.
Draft that we have coming up. But you brought up a good point last segment. It's like teams like now it's starting to get more interesting for fans. Like, how long can they go? Like, can they do it? It's like watching a train wreck, like you talk about, like the evening news, the bad stories lead. Like, how long can this go? I'm not going to lie. I checked the app. I checked ESPN last night just to check and make sure. It was a 5-point game late. It was feeling kind of frisky maybe for a minute. But, at the end of the day, like you said, it's like that team gets down and they don't know how to rise up off the mats, if you will, and throw that second counterpunch and steal a game at the end. So, yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm tuning in a little more and more now.
Oh, so you're hate watching?
I think so. I'm not watching though. I'm just checking the scores. I told you I'm not really watching. And forgive me for not watching a team that's lost 27 straight, but I'm not really watching. I'm kind of just checking the app just to make sure.
Okay,
kind of like someone's fantasy team. You just log in, see how the progress is going, log out, continue with your day.
Well, the good news is somehow, however this works out, the Detroit Pistons in 2024, 25, 26, and 27 will have their own pick, at least number 1 through number 9. And if it drops out after that, there's a whole bunch of conditions. It'll go to the New York Knicks via Houston to OKC, if not already settled. So for whatever that means, they basically own their own picks, in the first 10 picks. And there's a whole bunch of protections and jargon to go around with that. So, like, I guess they could just keep drafting. And I look at this draft class, and I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I really don't even know.
Who knows? I mean, there's going to be some stars in there, right? For some future stars, but like you alluded to, it's at some point you got to identify them, and some point you got to hit and stop taking the Killian Hayeses, right? And hit on somebody like a Donovan Mitchell, a later, maybe not the number 1 overall pick, but maybe at 5 or 6, because God knows the draft luck lottery in this town between the Pistons and Red Wings. So yeah, I don't know.
It's so bad. You start to look at the draft too, and if you're looking for like rankings and whatnot, I know that there's a Slavic kid available. So I know Darko was a bad. I know that was bad, folks. I get it. They got this Alex Sarr kid from Perth. They've got Isaiah Collier from USC. Seems to be like right now the consensus number 1. There's nothing out here though that's Nikola. I think it's Topic. Or Topic.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. See, we are scraping the barrel right now, aren't we? we just don't know. You know what? Let it play out. We'll see. Draft day, everybody will say it's the greatest pick ever, and then, we'll see. It just takes time, But you have 2 teams in this town who have done it through the draft now, and now we're waiting for, the Tigers could be the third, if those young cats take the next step.
If it hits, right?
Done.
If it hits, if it goes through, and if those young guys can stay healthy. He's the coach, Kyle Barlow. Find him on Twitter, Kyle Barlow4. Send your kids recruiting videos there. Coach, have a great week, my friend. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yes, sir.
Be back with hour number 3 next. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for my friends from Coppercraft Distillery. Now they're a Michigan-based company, and they have a message for anybody 21 and up. You're going to want to get hooked up with this Honolulu Blue, a premium can cocktail. Vodka, blue raspberry lemonade. This special limited edition can cocktail is available at local stores, pubs, and restaurants. And when you're cheering on our favorite pro football team, TDs, tailgates, and more, make sure you grab a Honolulu Blue from Coppercraft Distillery.
Ring in the new year and get game day deals with One Stop at Meijer. Shop extra large avocados for 99 cents each. Select Coca-Cola, Pepsi, 7-Up, or Dr. Pepper products. Buy 2, get 1 free. Plus deposit where applicable. And select Lay's party-sized chips or poppables, 2 for $6. Plus, pay the same low Meijer prices no matter how you shop, in-store or online. Cheer on your favorite team and celebrate the new year when you shop quality and One Stop at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle. It's the Snowfall Lucky Draw. Every Saturday in December, select a lucky ornament from the holiday tree for the chance to take home your share of over $400,000 in prizes. It's the Snowfall Lucky Draw. Every Saturday in December, only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Merck Perks from Mercantile Bank is here. Merck Perks checking has all you need to plan your busy lifestyle. Travel services for hotels, airfare, and cruises, cash back rewards, and even savings on prescriptions, eyewear, and dental work. Merck Perks also includes all the traditional benefits you love, like online and mobile banking, and fee-free access to almost 40,000 MoneyPass ATMs. So when you're ready for perks, Merck is here. Learn more at mymerckperks.com, member FDIC.
For goodness sake, wear your seatbelt. Better yet, for your family's sake, your friend's sake, for your own sake, buckle up. The Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police knows that seatbelts save lives. The Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police sees firsthand what happens when seatbelts aren't used. We want Michigan to be the leader in seatbelt use. We want everyone in Michigan to get home safely. For everyone's sake, buckle up every time.
Huge here. AB's doing a heck of a job, and I'm ready to drop some huge opinions about what he's talking about later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
on the Pop Certified playlist right here on YouTube.
It's just cool with you. It's a mess.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Defending in the corner!
To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win! The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker! Kenneth Walker! Touchdown! Smarty!
Goff's got it. Back, looks, throws, ends up.
Yes!
Caught! Touchdown, Detroit Lions! They did it! Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end!
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here! A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Welcome back here, X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports and Network. Great to have you riding along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio and worldwide on the iHeartRadio app. We say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. You can text the keyword Sports Radio. Send that to 21,000 Sports Radio to 21000. Myers Supercenter guest line 866-838-4843. That's 866-838-HUGE, 866-838-4843. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros. And, of course, good morning to our television audience as well on BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network. Add a .com to that to find our website. XBMornings at gmail.com is our fan feedback email inbox. And you can find us all individually on Twitter. Ben Glaze is at the Ben Glaze. Ryan Elke is at Ryan_Key, and I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. So this coming weekend, the Lions will take on the Cowboys on Saturday night, which is actually a rendition of Monday Night Football. Some people don't understand this, but Monday night is the college football playoff semifinal. So there will not be NFL, as it seems like people understand scheduling a little bit, at least somewhat, in the football world. And they decided that, you know what, we won't play games on New Year's Day. It's kind of a college day, right? Okay, that's fine. Now, Ryan has a fun fact for us, so I'll give him a moment if you'd like to dial in, because actually something that was brought up on yesterday's show works in favor for the Detroit Lions. Poor Terry, wherever he is at, high above the GB Ritz, high above the Ritz-Carlton somewhere in his luxury penthouse suite, cannot believe. He is astounded. He is shocked. He is bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived that the Dallas Cowboys at home would be favored over the Detroit Lions. He can't seem to figure that out and why that is. And quite frankly, it hurt his feelings, right? Terry's feelings are hurt. He is upset. He's angry. He's mad, all that good stuff. So there is an actual statistic to back up why, Terry, this might actually be a good thing. And here is Ryan. Good morning, Ryan. Welcome back.
Hello, welcome. Yeah, I was typing it in the Google Drive for you to read.
I wanted you to read it though, because it was yours. You put it on the screen. I was like, oh, he's got to get this in there.
Yeah. So as of now, with the Ravens just demolishing the 49ers, on Monday Night Football, the underdogs have won 8 straight games.
Brian Windhorst, double index pointer fingers. Now, what does this mean? They've won 8 straight.
Mean? They have won 8 straight, and I believe since Saturday night is, as you said, the Monday Night Football rendition on Saturday night, which always happens at this time. The Cowboys are 6-point favorites versus the Detroit Lions for Saturday Monday Night Football.
What are you trying to say, Ryan?
I'm saying you hammer the money line for the Lions Saturday night responsibly.
Bing bong.
And if you think like, oh, well, there's just random games. Like, it's Monday Night Football. There are great games everywhere. Drew Lock and the Seattle Seahawks beat the Eagles. The Titans, I believe they covered a nice spread, getting a win. The Broncos beat the Bills at plus 300. Eagles beating the Chiefs in a Super Bowl rematch. Cincinnati, the Bengals, with, I believe, Jake Browning getting a win over Jacksonville. Like, these aren't just little, Titans beating the Dolphins is 13.5-point underdogs. And the Giants, 5.5 underdogs beating the Packers on that double Monday night feature.
A double doozy of underdog specials on Monday Night Football. So what Ryan is trying to tell you here, folks, is that it's simple quantum physics. The underdogs have been winning. The Lions are listed as the underdog. So for GB Ritz, this is a good thing, folks. It's a good thing for the Lions to be underdogs.
It makes sense that Dallas is a 6-point favorite because Dallas has not lost at home this season.
Now that is a fun fact for you right there. The Dallas Cowboys, who have it's been a very interesting year for the Cowboys. The Lions walk in at 11-4. The Cowboys, who are the host of this at Jerry's World, also they are at 10-5, and as Ryan just pointed out, 7-0 at home. A massive game for both teams when it comes to seeding in the playoffs. Now, I will take you through a little trip down memory lane if you would like. They did lose to the Niners. You remember when they got shelled 42-10 earlier in the year. They got beat by the Eagles 28-23, then bounced back and won later on in the year. 2 consecutive losses on the road against the Bills, on the road against the Dolphins. They've beaten the Seahawks, they've beaten the Eagles, but they've beaten the Commanders, the Panthers, the Giants, the Rams, the Chargers, the Patriots. They lost to the Cardinals. They beat the Jets. They beat the Giants again. Remember that opener they had 40-0? It was like, oh, God, here we go with this Cowboys talk. And they do feature both of their first 2 selections in the 2023 draft coming from the University of Michigan, Mozzie Smith, who is locked and loaded, and Luke Schoonmaker. So just throwing that out there for just, fun and smiles or whatever the case may be. But they have not yet lost 3 games in a row. In fact, their back-to-back games that they have dropped is the first consecutive losses that they have been able to have. If you are a Lions fan, and I'll pose this to you, Ryan, if you're a Lions fan and we go back to where this team has they've had their dips a little bit, right? The loss to the Seattle Seahawks, they go on to win 4 in a row. They lose to the Ravens, they win 3 in a row. They lose to the Packers, beat the Saints, lose to the Bears, now win 2 in a row. Do you finally feel like the fan base has kind of settled down a little bit after, that little debacle around Thanksgiving because they won the division already? Like, do you think that, people can finally sort of exhale a little bit?
Oh, 100%. Because I think it was just we can't believe it until we see it type of situation, and completely understandable for this fan base. I mean, you saw like years ago the winner-take-all division against the Packers, and you lose that. 6-1 starts going to 7-9. So I think this fan base is just like, once we see, the Z or the Y next to our name in the standings, like, we are going to absolutely freak out and be a nervous wreck, because why should we believe when history has told us to not?
It's a very, very good question. And that's the hardest thing as a conditioned person to believe it that way. It's very hard to get over that. And it's going to take, like you said, you got to see the little letter next to their name in the standings. You have to see that, the T-shirts come out. You have to see that after week 18, they are going to host a playoff game. You have to be able to see that. It's got to be attainable. It's got to be palpable. It's very, I would say, very much the same as prior to the Wolverines. There was a time there where I never thought it was going to happen. And even after they beat Ohio State, I didn't really think it was real. Turns out they got smoked by Georgia, so it's not like it was exactly real to begin with. But you understand what I'm saying, right?
But
there is
even the one time, like when Michigan beat them the first time, you're just like, okay, was this just a blip? Or is this something that we're building? And even last year, I thought last year the Lions, was the 7 of 8 games, was that the blip, or is this something we're building?
Very, very good point. We'll be back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
It's time to go in the huddle.
1, 2, 3, top flight!
It's a new day to celebrate and be free. It's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a new day for winning only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. It's a new day. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com. It's finally here. After almost a month, the Michigan Wolverines will take the field on New Year's Day to take on the Alabama Crimson Tide. It will be the Maize and Blues' 20th visit to Pasadena and the first since 2007 when they fell to USC 32-18. For the Tide, it's their 7th trip to the Rose Bowl, most recently in 2021 against Notre Dame, a 31-14 victory. It's the 6th all-time meeting between these two blue blood programs, with Bama leading the all-time series 3-2, coming off of that 2020 Citrus Bowl W against Michigan 35-16. 5 of the 6 meetings have been in postseason bowl games besides that 2012 season opener in Arlington, Texas. It's a massive game for both programs and for two of college football's biggest names, Saban and Harbaugh.
Ring in the new year and get game day deals with One Stop at Meijer. Shop extra large avocados for 99 cents each. Select Coca-Cola, Pepsi, 7-Up, or Dr. Pepper products. Buy 2, get 1 free. Plus deposit where applicable. And select Lay's party-sized chips or poppables, 2 for $6. Plus, pay the same low Meijer prices no matter how you shop, in-store or online. Cheer on your favorite team and celebrate the new year when you shop quality and One Stop at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
Roast Umber is a farm-direct coffee sourced from Central American farmers and roasted in Grand Rapids. And also the Nitro Cold Brew Coffee is a convenient and healthy option for energy with no sugar additives. Look for it at your local retailer or at roastumber.com. Coming up later today at 3 on The Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
This is X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Great to have you right along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening. A reminder, our good buddy Matt Golden and his team over at Tullymore Golf Resort, Canadian Lakes, Michigan, are ready to welcome you in the upcoming 2024 golfing season with open arms. One of the best golfing experiences in the great state of Michigan. Put it on your list of things to do this upcoming year. Never too early to start thinking about golf, even though some of you in the northern part of the state might have snow on the ground. Here in the southern portion of the state, we're fine. I mean, it's like mid-40s right now. So, and I'm good with it. A lot of people are concerned or worried. Like it is what it is. I almost went. I thought about playing during Christmas Day. It did cross my mind. I looked out of my parents' window and saw the golf course. I'm like, it's a little wet out there. It's a little moist. There'll be a lot of club cleaning and definitely a trip to the cleaners for the clothes after a round out there. But Tullymore Golf Resort in Canadian Lakes, an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant, smack dab in the middle of the state, easy to get to no matter what direction you are coming from. Visit TullymoreGolf.com, TullymoreGolf.com, or call 1-800-972-4837. That's 1-800-972-4837. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. A couple of text messages here. Monday night underdogs and 1-8 straight games. Why talk about losers? Pistons are a disgrace and do not deserve any discussion. That comes from Josh on Twitter. Well, Josh, they are a Michigan-based team. We are a Michigan-based radio network that has a morning show and an afternoon show on affiliates across the state. And the Detroit Pistons are the story of the NBA for all of the wrong reasons right now, and it is our duty and responsibility to have these discussions. And it's also the middle of the week, and it's in December. So, look, we got a few days. By the way, I'll be traveling with the University of Michigan for the Rose Bowl, so Jeff Risdon will be in on Friday and on Tuesday. So New Year's Day, we'll have a college football playoff preview special that will be here on the air. Look, the people were like, "Are you going to take your equipment?" And typically, anytime I go anywhere, I load up my hard shell Pelican case, throw all my radio equipment in there. We take the show on the road, baby. I have done Eastern time zone radio from the West Coast. Super Bowl 50, myself, my buddy Joe, and another guy that we worked with, we went out to Super Bowl 50 in San Francisco for no other reason than to experience what the Super Bowl would be like. And we did morning radio, and our good friends at iHeart in San Fran, they were willing to open the doors to us and get everything situated so we could do it right there from the studio because Radio Row wasn't going to be open at 3 o'clock in the morning. That just wasn't going to happen. And let me tell you, that was the worst one of the experience of San Francisco outside of the city being, dirty. But the experience was awesome, right? The Madden Bowl, all the Super Bowl stuff that took place. I mean, they had the Fisherman's Wharf there in San Fran and all these different, activities and getting, one-on-ones with Terrell Owens and Marshall Faulk and stuff like that. Like that part of it was great. I was working for a local NBC affiliate at the time, NBC 24. So we were doing live stand-up shoots. Gotten one of the guys that I worked with, got him a job over there as well. So, we took the equipment with us and we shot stand-ups and sent it back. And it was cool. Waking up at that hour to do morning radio was absolutely atrocious. Like that was hard, really hard. And then waiting around for someone to let you in the building, like that's just tough. So when it came to doing live radio from the Rose Bowl, no, 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning local time. You know what? Jeff Risdon, he's right there. He can, he is more than willing to and gracious to carry that baton into the 96.1 The Game studios across from Ben. I don't know, Ben, are you going to be able to handle that? Somebody in the studio with you.
It's going to be strange, but it's going to be fun.
Staring at you, wondering what's going on over there. Right. So Jeff will be in on Friday and on Tuesday, and like I said, Monday, January 1st, we will have our college football playoff special that will air with some interviews and coverage about the games to be played on that day, which will be a lot of fun. And then we'll see how the Rose Bowl goes. Like Jeff will have you covered. We're going to talk to Chris Wormley coming up here shortly on the Michigan-Alabama game. There's just all this downtime in between, and it gets filled with all of these different elements, right? The Pistons are on this losing streak. The Detroit Lions are the number one story in Michigan sports, and that's the way it should be. I mean, the NFL is king, folks. The official numbers are not out yet, but I wanted to know, just for my own quick little poll of Twitter followers, and over 500 people voted in the poll. And it was really very simple. What did you watch on Christmas Day? And it was overwhelming in favor of the NFL. 94% of the 502 votes went in favor of the NFL. 6% went to the NBA. There's no way you can manufacture a poll result like that, folks. I mean, let me tell you. You want to talk about getting out to the polls. There's no way there's no absentee ballots here. That is a true poll. And I've got the statistical data to back it up because the official numbers are not yet in for the entire day. But we know that Raiders-Chiefs drew 29 million plus viewers and peaked at 37 million. The Ravens-Niners averaged 27.25 million viewers and peaked at 31.4 million. That's insane. And since 1989, there have only been 2 years in which an NBA game has outdrawn an NFL contest on Christmas Day when the two have a lineup on the calendar. It's just, I mean, it's a bludgeoning. It's supposed to be the NBA's day, and you'll even notice it from ESPN. Like they have the NBA properties on their programming, and it's like, boom, like, look, we got football today too, so we got to do some juggling and some shuffling. And there were some pretty good games. I mean, Raiders-Chiefs was a good game. I mean, that was a lot of fun. It was great to see two teams and neither one can beat the Lions. So it was good to see them go head-to-heads. And look, I love to see Patrick Mahomes struggle. It didn't have to be this way, but he made it this way, right? I don't hate greatness. I really don't. If you're really good at something, I want to watch it. Like, I didn't hate the Patriots. I didn't like their fans, but I didn't hate the Patriots. I love Tom Brady. That's fine. I don't mind when a team is very good. Like, I don't mind LeBron James. I don't like his off-the-court stuff because I think he's a liar and a hypocrite, but that's just my own personal opinion, which I'm entitled to have. As for, like, his career throughout the NBA, it's been pretty astonishing, right? But I don't hate it because I ain't it, right? I don't hate Ohio State like that. Some people are like, how dare you say such a thing? Like, yes, I don't hate Ohio State just because my team couldn't beat them. They won the conference how many years in a row? Like, multiple college football playoff appearances, a national championship under the current format. Like, that's really tough to beat. I don't hate them because I'm not them, right? I hate that my team can't beat them, and that's totally different. But Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, I think, are making themselves dislikable. I think it comes from the constant whining and complaining as if they haven't gotten every single call necessary over the last 3 years. You know, it's not our fault your wide receivers can't catch. Like, the headline today on ESPN was Kansas Pity. That's pretty funny. Right? I don't like all of the now attention drawn to, like, I watched one episode of The Quarterback. I can't stand that. Like, are you kidding me? That was awful. One episode's all it took. I can't watch that. That was, I don't want to see his wife. I don't care. I don't want to see Taylor Swift. I don't talk about Taylor Swift because I don't care. That has nothing to do with the on-the-field product. And the minute it does start to affect the on-the-field product for Kansas City, you got to cut ties. You could find her anywhere. You can't find the Lombardi anywhere. That's what matters. Legacy matters. Hall of Fame matters. Super Bowls matter. Be happy on your own time. We're here to win, damn it. And I just don't like Patrick Mahomes has made himself the crying and whining and complaining about a guy lined up offside and the fact that your guys can't catch the football. It took away one of the great plays. And stop it. The great play in NFL history shouldn't have happened. You're offside. Get a grip. Jeez Louise. But so I watch the Chiefs. I did. I was rooting for the Raiders. I love it. Let's see it. Let's see the demise of Kansas City now. I'm here for it. Now let's step aside. We'll talk to Big Worm, our buddy Chris Wormley, the current Carolina Panther and Michigan alum, will join us. We'll talk college football bowl games, a little bit about the transfer portal, as well as this matchup. And my biggest fear going into this game against the Crimson Tide. We'll get into all that next here. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com. at MHSAA on Twitter and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Welcome to the Drew World Order. Drew Hill, Friday, January 26th at Soaring Eagle Casino. There's a party on this hill. Same show, the soulful bad boy of R&B, Genuine. Ride the pony for a two-stepping good time. Tickets start at $45 and are on sale now at the box office or online at etix.com. Genuine. Drew Hill, Friday, January 26th at Soaring Eagle Casino.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org. Coming up later today at 3 on The Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
Miss any of today's show? Find our podcast and listen on demand on Google, Apple, Spotify, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, back to X's and Bros with Anthony Bellino here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Ben Glaze, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Join us now, the Michigan alum and current Carolina Panther, getting ready for the Rose Bowl game. His name, Chris Wormley. Find him on Twitter at Chris_Wormley43. Big Worm, my man, first and foremost, happy holidays, happy New Year. How are you? How's life? How are things, partner?
What's going on? Yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, Happy New Year. I know it's kind of that weird space in between, or right after the New Year. From Christmas to the New Year, we're like, what day is it? How many ham sandwiches can we eat? When's the Michigan game coming on? What random bowl game is still popping up? So yeah, it's been a good week or so, and just excited for this Michigan game coming up. It's a huge one.
Before we dive into the actual Rose Bowl game itself, bowl season just feels different, right? And it's always been a little bit strange. What is it like as a player when your season comes to an end and then you have anywhere from, some teams turn around pretty quickly within a week and a half to 2 weeks. Other teams have to wait, damn near a month before they hit the football field again. How do you manage the day-to-day with all this time in between, your last two live action games? I feel like that would be really difficult.
Yeah, it's really just the time to kind of catch up on your schoolwork. Exams and finals are all right before bowl games. Usually, when I was playing, we usually played towards the end of December, or we got lucky and played on the first one. But yeah, you're really just trying to catch up on schoolwork, catch up on those finals and exams. So you definitely have less time than you would think. Still trying to practice. We used to call it the winter camp when we had a bowl week, especially with Harbaugh in my last 2 years. So we're still working. I know those guys are still trying to get better, and they have a huge game against Alabama
with the transfer portal and NIL, and now this big break like everybody's going through, you mentioned which random bowl games on television. The bowl games are still doing incredible ratings. It's wild to see how many viewers each one of these things has, and they're never going to stop airing them. As long as the TV numbers are up, they're going to still continue to show the Venture 68 Bowl and the Pinstripe Bowl and every other bowl, the Bahamas Popeyes Bowl and every bowl in between. But Is the bowl season like different now? I mean, before we'd have guys opt out when they started to think about their NFL future a little bit, and that risk versus reward of injury versus finishing out the year and playing with their team, which I'm sure is a tough choice for a lot of guys to have to make. I've never been in that situation, so if they opt out, I don't blame them. Like, I get it. I understand if they want to play, by all means, go ahead and play. But now with the transfer portal and guys having to leave early so that they can get enrolled and get ready for spring ball wherever their new destination may be, does it make this bowl season even, I don't know, stranger, more difficult to follow, lose a little bit of its luster maybe?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I guess as long as there's a big brawl at the end of the bowl games like we saw with the Eastern Michigan game a couple days ago, like you said, people will still tune in. But yeah, it definitely gets weird, especially when you see, really some big names transferring before their bowl game, and you're like, dang, I wish these guys could at least stay and play in their bowl game before having to make that tough decision to transfer. But I understand they have to get enrolled and they have to, get acclimated to a new school. But yeah, to be honest with you, I'm just tuning in for these playoff games, and that'll probably be my extent of watching bowl season. I know I got my own film and study breakdown to do throughout the week, and then obviously playing on Sundays. But I'm excited to watch these playoff games and maybe a couple of the New Year's Six bowls. But these random bowl games on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I haven't been able to tune into, and but I know people are, and I know that we're trying to get into as much football as we can before the season's over. But it does have that strange feel to it when that transfer portal is booming.
And business is booming in the portal. In fact, Florida State as university actually has tried to enter themselves into the transfer portal. It's just it's a wild time in college athletics. Now, for Michigan versus Alabama, New Year's Day, 5 p.m. Eastern kickoff. The Rose Bowl, a lot of tradition, a lot of history here with this Michigan football program. Them being the number one seed, having the opportunity to pick, it only made sense to go west. Michigan travels pretty well. You definitely didn't want to play a bowl game where you would give Alabama a crowd advantage and go south. So it made sense, take everybody to California. The Maize and Blue are going to travel well. It might be a 50-50 split, maybe a little bit more in favor of Michigan, but definitely a more favorable outcome when it comes to a crowd standpoint. This game means a lot to the Michigan fan base. This game means a lot to Jim Harbaugh and this team, because this is a matchup here against Alabama that, I mean, let's face it, Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide, they're an absolute juggernaut. And earlier on, prior to the Big Ten championship, I was feeling really good about things. Zach Zinter gets injured on the offensive line. It's an area that I've had a question mark about all season long. We've talked about it. I am overly nervous about this matchup now, speaking personally and openly and honestly to our listenership for the first time really about this ball game. I am quite nervous about the fact that I think the key matchup is Michigan's O-line versus the front seven of Alabama, and I just have my doubts, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked this whole season on this show about the O-line play and kind of the lack thereof when it comes to they gave up some sacks early on in the season, and then just trying to get Edwards and Corum going throughout the season. It kind of seemed like we wanted that chemistry of that O-line to pick up a lot sooner than it did. And obviously, when you lose a unanimous All-American in Zinter, that's going to be a huge blow. And then you kind of mix that with the defense that Alabama has, you do have those uncertainties and those questions like, okay, how are these guys going to hold up? But I know that obviously Harbaugh and Coach Moore on the offensive side of the ball are going to get those guys ready. They've had 4 weeks now to prepare, and I think it's going to be a great game. Growing up after New Year's Eve and then New Year's Day, you watch the Rose Bowl. You watch the granddaddy of them all, and especially being a Michigan fan growing up and a Big Ten supporter, like it was always the Big Ten and the Pac-12 or the Pac-10 back then or whatever it was. So this game obviously has a lot of sentimental value to not only just me as a Michigan fan, but to the entire Michigan fan base. Obviously Harbaugh being a Michigan player, and it's the first time these guys are back at the Rose Bowl in a long time. So it's exciting. And with all these questions and uncertainties, I still expect Michigan to win.
And that's I feel like that's a lot, really how a lot of the Michigan fan base feels as well. They expect this team to go out there and to be able to handle business against Alabama, a Crimson Tide team that has looked, I mean, outside of their loss to Texas, like they are beatable. Like you can lose, they can lose. You can beat them. And I think that's, kind of part of it. And you look at the way they ended their season with a close call against number 1 Georgia, a close call, 3-point game on the road in the Iron Bowl against Auburn. They had some questionable outcomes, a 3-point game that they won against Arkansas that was at home. They went on the road and beat Texas A&M by 6. Like they've had their fair share of dicey games. I just find it really difficult trying to evaluate, conference to conference, SEC versus Big Ten. We know that the Big Ten right now is basically a 2-team league if you want to stack them up as it is this year. Obviously with USC and Oregon and Washington, things will shake up next year. But, in recent memory, it's really been Michigan and Ohio State and then kind of everybody else, where the SEC has flexed a lot of their depth with some different teams going to the college football playoff. How do we go about, and what do you think it's like, preparing for this team and trying to evaluate how good this Alabama team actually is?
Yeah, I think you definitely take into consideration that one loss against Texas, but that was at the beginning of the season, and you saw Alabama each week get better and better. Obviously, they had some tight wins, but that means a lot. How can they overcome adversity? Can they make those big plays when they need it the most? And saw that in the Iron Bowl on that 4th and 31 or whatever it was. And then obviously that Georgia game, they kind of, it was close. It was a close game, but I don't think Georgia ever really had a shot to win it. And obviously Georgia was top dog for the last 2.5, 3 years. So Alabama's a great team, but I also think that they're very beatable when you look at how they stack up against Michigan. I think I like Michigan's defense overall better than Alabama's. I think Michigan's quarterback is better than Alabama's quarterback, and I like Michigan's run game better. Now the big question is going to be, how's that O-line going to stack up against their front seven like you talked about earlier? And then obviously Alabama's always going to have ridiculously good secondary and receivers. So I think that's going to be a matchup to look at, come the game. But like I said, I still think Michigan can win this game, and I think they should win the game.
Do you think that, if I'm Michigan, I'm Sharon Moore, one thing we haven't seen a lot of this year is a play-action passing attack, and we haven't seen – JJ really in a bootleg situation. And, for me, it's like I can kind of almost foresee this offensive line having a little bit of a struggle there in protection. We saw it, massively in the Penn State game, but then we saw a vast improvement there against Ohio State. So it's like, okay, all right, Ohio State, they protect JJ pretty well. Run game's established. Against Penn State, it was like, hey, we have to run it because right now our pass protection is lacking, for a good way to, lack of a better way to put it, I should say. And I look at this Alabama team and I'm like, okay, like this might be the opportunity where we finally get a little play action movement, maybe some more wrinkles. Is that really a fact or a fiction that is made up where teams may stash some things and store some things for later on so that it's not on tape and, maybe give something or hide something from an opposition so that they don't have any film on it?
Yeah, I think one of the good things about having 3 to 4 weeks to prepare for a team is that you can do a little self-scout on your own. I know Harbaugh and Moore probably went back and looked at what they did those first 13 weeks of the season, did well, what they needed to improve on, and they had a lot of time to tweak things and try new things out during practice. So it's not just about scouting your opponent, but it's also kind of taking a step back and looking at what you can do better, what you can continue to improve on. And I'm sure they're going to have a few wrinkles to combat Alabama's defense. And I think that, if the play action pass to kind of, first of all, if they're going to do the play action pass, they're going to have to be able to run the ball, and that's going to set everything up. So if they can run the ball efficiently, and then take those play action deep shots off of that run to set up those play action passes, I think that's a great wrinkle that they're going to be able to show, because they haven't shown a ton of that this year. But it's all going to come down, I think, to how they're going to be able to run the ball and those receivers against Alabama secondary, at least when it comes to Michigan's offense.
Historically, this will be the 6th meeting between the two teams. Alabama has won the last two, most recently being in 2020 in Orlando, Florida. Harbaugh versus Saban, it was 35-16 in favor of the Crimson Tide. And then in 2012, Brady Hoke against Nick Saban, it was a 41-14 game against Alabama. Michigan's last victory came when Lloyd Carr was at the helm back in 2000, 35-34. Down there in Florida as well, the bowl game action. So we look at this matchup historically, relatively evenly matched, which is fine by me. I'm good with that. And I think that when you try to put into any sort of historical context for what this might mean, Nick Saban and company in Alabama, they've had their fair share, right? I mean, he's the most decorated college coach in the history of the game. If Jim Harbaugh can win this game and Michigan can advance and get over this, okay, we finally win the Big Ten. We finally make it to the college football playoff. We're 0-2 in the semifinal match. They can finally get over this hump. What do you think that does to propel the program to whatever this next level might be?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the question. Like they've beaten Ohio State the last 3 years. They won 3 Big Ten championships, and for the longest time, that was the standard. Now with this playoff, coming to fruition over the last 10 years or so, like, and then making it to the playoffs, but not being able to win in a semifinal game. This is gonna take Michigan's program to the next level when it comes to recruiting and when it comes to NIL. Now it's going to be huge. The type of money that these players can generate off of a single playoff win, I'm sure is crazy. I'd be interested to see the numbers. But like you said, Nick Saban is the greatest college football coach that we've ever seen. His national championships and the players that he puts out in the NFL each year is really unprecedented and really second to none. But I think Michigan, matches up evenly with them, like you said. And I really do think that Michigan can win this game. I think playing out on the West Coast helps out a lot of Michigan fans out there in California and LA. But then also, this is like I said, this is going to set up Michigan for not just this year or the year after, but for many, many years to come once they get over this hump, because they've done the old hump the last 3 years, and now this is a new challenge and a new obstacle that they have yet to get over.
With Texas taking on Washington, obviously I know that Michigan, that's who you want to win. So that's a good scenario. If you think Michigan wins and you want them to win. So let's say we have Michigan advancing. Texas versus Washington in the nightcap, 8:45 in the All-State Sugar Bowl there in New Orleans, Louisiana. What would be the preferred matchup? Not necessarily based on, styles or anything like that, but who would you like to see Michigan play for a national championship if they are to advance? What's your dream matchup here?
I think my dream is Texas. I think obviously when Michigan beats Alabama, then they go and beat the team they go and put the team that beat Alabama early in the season. But Texas just has, when you think of like the blue bloods of college football, I mean, you don't really think about Washington, even though they have a great team. And I really thought that Penix Jr. had a shot to win the Heisman this year. When you look at Texas, I think they're really, really a balanced team. They have a solid quarterback. They obviously have a good running game, good receivers, and then obviously the defense has really played lights out all year. So I think it'd be a great test and a great chance for Michigan to play them, and then they'd have to go and play down in Houston. So obviously probably a lot more Texas fans down in Houston than there would be Michigan fans, which would create a little adversity. But I would love to see Michigan play Texas. I think it would just be a great matchup.
It really would be. I'd love to see the maize and blue versus the burnt orange out there, man. That would be awesome. It is Michigan. It's Alabama. It's 5 p.m. It's New Year's Day, and it's for the Rose Bowl. It doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't get any better than this guy either. His name is Chris Wormley. Find him on Twitter at Chris_Wormley43. Chris, as always, my friend, thank you so much for your time today, partner. We greatly appreciate it, and enjoy the game. Go Blue, buddy.
Absolutely. Happy New Year, and go Blue.
Well, folks, in the NBA, the action never stops, and it can change in an instant. But no matter how it all unfolds, DraftKings Sportsbook has your back. This week, new customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball. Win or lose, you get an instant dub, and best of all, it's safe, secure, and reliable. With 24/7 support, you can deposit, withdraw your cash whenever, wherever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code HUGE. Promo code HUGE. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Only using the promo code HUGE. The crown is yours. Now, if you're somebody who knows a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline. 800-270-7117. Must be 21 plus. Physically present in Michigan. Eligibility and deposit restrictions do apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. What a day it has been. A historic day in radio here on the 27th day of December. 27 consecutive losses for the Detroit Pistons. A new NBA single-season record, a record of futility. And I just went on a little rampage of Twitter. What I can't seem to figure out, and this is what I'm looking forward to going forward. You know, and when the season first started, Asar had all those big games. Like, oh, Michael Jordan's the only player to do this, and Asar Thompson joins him, and this, that, and the third. Cade, Ivy, Duran, Asar. 30 minutes a night, no matter what. That's got to be it. Your job, Monty Williams. Figure out how to make it successful. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Same time, same place. More on that thought when we see you next time here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Bill Simonson here for my good friend Josh Garvey. Now, he is a managing shareholder at Bean Garter, soon to be Doran Mayhew at the end of the year. And with the merger, there is growth and a chance for you to fill an executive or other high-level finance-related roles, either at Bean Garter here in downtown Grand Rapids or over at the Doran Mayhew World Headquarters in Troy, or at any of their offices across the country and around the world. They have a national specialized talent pool with ideal candidates for long-term placement, ongoing support for post-placement success. So if you're looking for that next chapter in your professional career, talk to Josh Garvey and the team at Bean Garter. Easiest way, you can call Bean Garter, ask for Josh Garvey, or go to their website, BENEGARTR.com, or look for Bean Garter, soon to be Doran Mayhew, on Facebook and on Twitter.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle. It's the Snowfall Lucky Draw. Every Saturday in December, select a lucky ornament from the holiday tree for the chance to take home your share of over $400,000 in prizes. It's the Snowfall Lucky Draw, every Saturday in December, only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Roast Umber is a farm-direct coffee sourced from Central American farmers and roasted in Grand Rapids. And also the Nitro Cold Brew Coffee is a convenient and healthy option for energy with no sugar additives. Look for it at your local retailer or at roastumber.com.
Merck Perks from Mercantile Bank is here. Merck Perks checking has all you need to plan your busy lifestyle. Travel services for hotels, airfare, and cruises, cash back rewards, and even savings on prescriptions, eyewear, and dental work. Merck Perks also includes all the traditional benefits you love, like online and mobile banking, and fee-free access to almost 40,000 MoneyPass ATMs. So when you're ready for perks, Merck is here. Learn more at mymerckperks.com, member FDIC.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Coming up later today at 3 on The Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver